Something about this game to me says
they need $19.99 more from you. Welcome to Save Point Sass, where every checkpoint comes with hot takes, chaotic tangents, and a little bit of shade.
Two queer gamers, wildly different play styles. Breaking down what we're playing, what's going on in gaming culture, and what deserves a health potion or a rage quit.
This is Save Point Sass. Load in, level up, and stay petty.
Alright, so Nintendo's evil.
But only if you aren't on the bandwagon with them.
Yeah. I think, though, because of the new console, everybody's on the bandwagon with them, trying to be. I think there's a lot of excitement around Nintendo Switch 2, and they've definitely capitalized on that, but they have more surprises in store.
For if you're wanting to keep your legacy, Switch 1.
Exactly.
In parity.
Yeah, it's been a huge topic about legacy gaming with Nintendo consoles. We're talking Super Nintendo, GameCube, all of the games that are coming to NSO as part of the service. Like, there was a huge debate about that. Game Boy games. Like, how do we play those games? What about the systems and, you know, support for them and modding, et cetera, et cetera. And Nintendo's been taking down whole websites, you know, that had ROMs and stuff like that. And it's so interesting that at the same time they're taking away the only means of people to do preservation for older consoles. They're slowly making it even harder to get into their latest system for preservation. So, do you remember what the price raise was?
I was thinking, depending on the region and what the device was, $10 to $20 increases.
But for the Switch OLED, which is the most sought after,
that was like $50.
Yeah, like a $50 increase. How do you feel about that?
I'm like, it really seems like Nintendo just wants people to be on their latest version of everything, right?
So you think it's a price thing to force people to get a Switch too?
I think so, right? Or if they have like price increase, they have if they do indeed have cost increases, they probably are wanting to have the cost increases applied to the legacy version, so that it incentivizes people to be on the latest version, which they probably have more physical and digital control, right? Both through their policy and through whatever algorithms and coding they've implemented for the Switch 2 specifically. But it's interesting you brought up, this is their same policy for digital, right? Because removing the virtual consoles, ease of access, that you saw in like the Wii U and 3DS.
Yep.
So now having it all be subscription based, and now even for physical, they're taking the same policy measures, which then really makes it feel like it is indeed against the user, right? Not very user friendly, right? So definitely showing the physical version makes it also seem like, well, actually now the digital version really seems not very user friendly at all. Their digital philosophy around access and availability.
So you can't win.
You can't win digital and you can't win physical.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so interesting that a lot of people lately, you know, with the launch of the Switch 2, basically reconciled with the price of the Switch 2. $450, $500 with Mario Kart, which is another topic in itself. You know, people were like, okay, fine. But the really big sticking point for many people was the price increase for the games. And so a lot of people are really concerned about software. What we've seen recently in EA and Microsoft saying that they're not going to do $80 games. Yeah. It's kind of, you know, publishers back away from the price increase. They seem to be scared on the software front. I think it's so interesting then Nintendo, who has been spearheading $80 games, you know, out of nowhere. No one expected that. Now to be like, well, we're raising the price of our previous gen console. Games. Yeah, it's really interesting because...
Do you think it's setting a new standard?
I don't know what Nintendo's philosophy is. As we know, they're like a very liquid company. They hold only cash. They don't have any debt. You know, some people would point to the tariffs being a factor in increasing these prices. But obviously, for older consoles, probably there's a lot more of them already in the country. There's probably already a stockpile within the U.S. That is not subject to tariffs. So it's a really puzzling thing. But Nintendo's, spearheading all these price changes, and it's really interesting.
Do you think it's working for Nintendo?
It must be working for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
If they're applying it to these older games,
yeah, to older games and to older accessories and to the consoles themselves. I think I could understand if they were saying, "Well, we're going to apply it to these older accessories because, you could still the production line for accessories could have run for a longer period of time. Also, it could be that they're still manufacturing some accessories because they're compatible with Switch 2. Yeah. But the only difference is maybe they're a USB-A versus a USB-C connected accessory. So you would think that with accessories, okay, I get it. But the actual consoles themselves, I think that's very surprising. But, with what Sony's doing, Sony has increased their prices. Microsoft basically doesn't have a console anymore, but they increased their prices.
But also, both of them also increased their digital subscriptions.
True.
Well, right? So,
well, Nintendo's isn't necessarily cheap, and when they did their increase, they went full in, right?
Yeah.
So they went from having a $20 a year to now having, depending on what you have, up to $80 something a year. So I think they've already done that with their digital subscriptions. But what I think is interesting is that we're on the next console. Microsoft and Sony rose prices on their current gen. So I think it's kind of like an apples to oranges situation for you to then afterwards say, well, Microsoft and Sony rose prices on their current gen. Well, we're just going to do Switch 1 too.
Yeah.
Unless it's
what you're saying. Of is it current gen or is it all the consoles in the nth generation are increased, right? And it just happens that the Switch 2 is another generation ahead.
True. Whatever's out, getting an increase, huh? Yeah.
But I'm also wondering if you think it's people are buying Switch 1 games instead of Switch 2 games because they're so much cheaper, because they're getting all these free upgrades.
Oh, for sure. I think that even we've looked at some games that we passed up on physical.
That we were interested in playing on the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Even though they were Switch 1 games.
Yeah, for better performance. And so I do think that they see an increased demand in Switch 1 software.
Yeah.
But that's why I think the hardware component is very puzzling, because I don't know many people who are dying to get a Switch 1. Maybe people to get
for the scalpers. Or the tech people who would want to buy it for keeping for 30 years.
Like a preservationist or whatever. I mean, I don't think that's it.
But you were about to say, what do you...
I was going to say people are going for OLED because Switch 2 doesn't have an OLED screen, and a lot of people are like, well, I just appreciate having the OLED experience.
But have you noticed a difference? I actually think the Switch 2 screen is comparable to the OLED screen.
Well, there's been Digital Foundry, IGN, some other outlets have looked at the screen and actually tested it as like a panel.
Yeah.
Not just it looks good or it looks brighter, but actually using the tools that they use for calibration, etc.
And what did they notice?
The Switch 2 screen is very poor.
Oh.
Yeah. So, actually, the discourse is Switch 2 is everything you could have hoped for except for the screen.
So that gives them the natural upgrade for a Switch to OLED.
Yeah.
In 2 years.
Yes. But some people now are going back and saying, like, well, I want an OLED because I thought Switch 2 was going to have an OLED screen.
Yeah.
And I've been holding out, and I haven't purchased all this Switch 1 software. So I'll just go get a Switch OLED and then, get my backlog, right? So I think that's a component to it, but honestly, I think Nintendo's pushing the limits. Households are spending a lot of money, and I think that, we can all be fine with current gen price increases. Last gen doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're searching for places to make more money has me worried. Because we already have the game key card situation, which, they just had a partner direct a couple of days ago, and they announced some games, and, many of the games were game key cards.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not ideal. And so I'm just worried that they're looking for ways to edge out profit
that we didn't even know could exist.
That we would think were abnormal in the past.
And now we're just becoming, let's just see if this works or not.
Yep, just see if it works. And, raise the prices, and then around the holidays, people won't realize when we do the price cut, when we do the deal, people will be like, oh, well, it's on sale.
Yeah.
Even for our old stuff that, I'm pretty sure a Switch One probably is manufactured for like $100 now.
For sure.
For sure. So I think that, it's really interesting what they're doing. How do you feel? We're going into the holiday season. There are a lot of games outside of Nintendo. Yeah. There's potentially...
I was going to say, does this change your Switch 1 buying behavior?
Switch 2?
No, Switch 1. Are you going to...
Well, we own many Switch 1s.
Yeah.
So we're not in the market
Switch 1
for
games, for example.
I think for Switch 1 games, we were looking at a couple of Switch 1 games to purchase, to have physically.
Mm-hmm. But this would be affected, right?
We'll have to see if some of the games that we were looking at would be effective. But I think that it doesn't change me looking back. There are a couple of games that I want for Switch 1 still. And I don't think it's going to necessarily change my mind if they're exclusives. Now, if they're on another platform like Steam or something, Steam has way more sales, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd be.
But you're talking about these first-party games mostly,
right? Which we actually saw some reverse behavior. So we saw, and I think we talked about this before, prices decreased on Switch 1 software around Switch 2 launch. And now games are back at full price.
Which is now more.
It's crazy. So, I'll say one of the games that I'm kind of on the fence and wanting to get, that's the Switch 1 software, is Brotherhood. Brothership. Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Yeah.
So, But
that's actually that's the perfect example of these games that came out end of life for Switch.
Had poor performance.
Had poor performance and had poor sales.
Yep.
So people will look at them almost like a Switch 2 game.
Yep.
And we'll pay a Switch 2 price.
Well, I don't know about Switch 2 price, but because that game,
they'll have to, right? Because
that game was one of the few games that I went to when I went to the store that was not marked back up to MSRP. So it was like $35, and I was like, that's what made me consider it. No one knows what's going on in Nintendo's head, but they definitely are spreading out their business and exploring different revenue sources. Obviously, they have the theme park. They just announced this new Pokemon experience. They're doing a lot to branch out, and I hope that we get games, new stuff at reasonable prices and on the cartridge, because I don't want any more game key cards.
Well, for this Switch 1 increase, what do you think? Do you think this is going to be end up positive for Nintendo, or do you think it's going to end up positive?
I think anyone... So I would compare it to like with the PlayStation 2. A lot of people got a PlayStation 2 really late.
Yeah.
I mean, PlayStation 3 came out. Remember, it was announced for $600, right? And so a lot of people were just like, I have access to a library of thousands of games. I'm going to get a PS2 now.
So in a way, maybe Nintendo wants that to not happen.
No, that will make no sense.
By increasing the price.
No, because basically, when it comes accounting-wise or when it comes finance-wise, they've already expensed all of that. All that stuff is paid for. So why, it costs money to store the games. It costs money to store the consoles. They would want to move the units. So I that's why this doesn't make much sense. But maybe they have some deal with retailers and it's the retailer's problem, and that's the second thing. Maybe they already do have the systems here, but they have a 10 million unit contract with GameStop, and GameStop has to deal with whatever, and they're like, well, you deal with it. We have our contract and we've delivered. You're saying that you're not going to make money, or you're having problems. All right, well, we'll do this price increase. We'll announce it and you implement it. But we washed our hands because we already sold you. We already got our money, right? I'm not exactly sure how those deals work. That stuff is opaque. But whatever they're doing, they need to stop. Because, I'm
like, how would we have reacted if it was not just for Switch 1, that even if the Switch 2 was increased in price?
Well, we have Switch 2s. I just think about people like some of our gaming friends, like my brother, like a one of my other close friends who I used to play Final Fantasy 14 with. Those people are not Nintendo gamers, but they would consider a Nintendo console at this point in the game. Actually, my brother's a huge Nintendo gamer, but I'm just saying people who have more transfer more towards playing stuff on PlayStation, PC, because of what happened at the end of the Switch life cycle. Yeah. With games performing poorly, etc., they kind of moved on. And so I think that this is the opportunity to get people back and get them to spend money. And I think that they're closing the door because, the friend that I would play Final Fantasy 14 with, they've only had a PlayStation console forever.
Yeah. And
the last Nintendo they had was a Game Boy Color.
Right. And if they got a hand-me-down Switch 1, they're going to end up buying a lot of Switch games.
Right. Or if they could go to the store and see Switch 1 for $150.
Yeah.
The same thing with GameCube at the end of its life cycle, which is a whole, different thing. But I had a GameCube at launch, but I remember some of my friends who were holding out. A lot of people were holding out. Obviously, GameCube didn't have great sales. And you could get a GameCube and Super Smash Bros., I think, for $99. You walk into the store with $99.99.
Yeah.
And you walk out in places with no taxes.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. But I think that they're losing that ability to kind of capture consumers who have lapsed, or consumers who are just more sensitive to price changes, where this is a discretionary good, and I think that they're pricing it like a luxury good, which means they're pricing it completely out of most normal households' budget. Yeah. Because right now nobody is thinking about purchasing luxury goods. And I think that they have to understand that, because they even price their Switch 2 domestically at $300 and something.
Yeah.
So if they were willing to do that for their domestic market, then they have to understand that what a household budget looks like and discretionary expenditures would be. So yeah, I hope that they change their mind, or it better be some good deals this winter.
Yeah.
It better be some Black Friday where it's like...
Well, that's the funny thing, is that now they can do good deals, and it'll just be the regular price. It should have been the whole time. So then everyone wins.
No.
Wins.
Yeah. Quotations. Wins. Speaking of Switch One software that a lot of people are fond of right now, I have, surprise, surprise, gone back to Mario Kart 8.
8?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. That is indeed a surprise.
So, I looked at your playtime, and you played Mario Kart World like 40 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, most other players out there have really been, digging their teeth into the game, doing everything, collecting everything. But I have seen some discourse online that is similar to me, where some people are going back to Mario Kart 8. And the reason that I went back is because I had not really actually played Mario Kart 8. I bought it, I played it a little bit, and I kind of got really busy with my day-to-day life. I think I was in grad school, and I just kind of bounced off the game. And Mario Kart World, for me, the online experience, it just was not fulfilling to me.
Yeah.
And the stages kind of... It was getting boring to have the fight, for me, with people to get the circuit, where people wanted to do just... I want to do Princess Peach's castle 3 laps in a row or whatever. And they don't want the intermissions and all that type of stuff. And also the tricks. I just felt like the online was just like kind of crazy, except for Knockout, where I was having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so one day I was just like, well, let me boot up Mario Kart 8. And honestly, from the very first cup, I fell in love with the game.
Yeah.
It is so much fun.
And the size of the game.
And there's so much content.
You had asked how many courses there were in the game or something, and I wasn't close. You kind of were in disbelief that there could even be so many courses.
Yep.
And then you started playing the game, and to your surprise, right, that there were so many courses.
Yeah. I think that I miss a couple of things, or appreciate a couple of things about Mario Kart 8 that I'm missing in World. I feel like in Mario Kart 8 there's true variety in the courses.
Yeah.
And I miss the gravity component.
The gravity is fun.
It's fun.
And it makes the course visually unique.
Yes. And it forces you to really have to wrap your head around changes in the course. If you upside down now, you have to really adjust yourself to be like, okay, well now I'm upside down.
I gotta do this instead.
I gotta do this instead. These are my tactics instead. And the other thing that I really liked is how the items work. Because I think we had talked about this before, where I was like, I feel like there's an algorithm or there's a certain behavior for item retention or item gifting, where like you'll get the bullet or you'll get the superstar. Remember, I was saying like I had never gotten it.
The spread is better, or like the variety maybe.
The variety is better, and I feel like the computer is less so trying to equitize the races by giving out certain items. I feel like the computer is just like, well, you got this item, so work it out. And I think that it's interesting that in Mario Kart 8, I could get so far ahead of, people.
The driving mattered a lot.
Yeah, the driving mattered. Less so the items mattered. The driving mattered. And the driving was more fun because there was gravity and underwater and all this stuff. And so I think that, I told you, I was like, wow, I really am enjoying this. And I think that I honestly like Mario Kart 8 more than Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
And what do you say to that? Because I think you're a big fan of Mario Kart World.
Well, I say to that, I called my friends at Nintendo and they deployed an update to Mario Kart World.
Oh, they did?
Just for these critiques.
Really?
Well, I think that there was an update right for Mario Kart World. I think they changed the effectiveness of tricking, or the ease of tricking, and they increased the amount of boost you get from tricking. And I think they made it easier, or they changed the computer algorithm.
Okay. I think I did see that, where someone was saying the computer was way more lenient.
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe they are seeing more people are starting to pick up Mario Kart 8 and then stay with Mario Kart 8 and not go back to World. And now they're trying to bring back some of these World mechanics, or these 8 mechanics, right? You think they would add something like gravity to Mario Kart World, or you don't think it belongs?
I think it's very possible, and I think there was some speculation before that, like, whatever we have on this current map, there are certain nodes where we would get other areas, right? And we already go to outer space.
Yeah.
So I could see them potentially adding, like, an international Mario station where it's like 10 courses all gravity, and kind of think of it like a Super Mario Galaxy but Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I could see them doing that, but I have not, ever since I started playing Mario Kart 8, I have not touched Mario Kart World.
No. Because you also liked the way that
the intermissions,
the intermissions, right?
I do like them.
If you're not playing intermissions, then like you might as well play 8.
True. I did. It was funny because I played 8 and I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to just race courses again.
Yeah.
And, but the thing is there's a difference.
They're meant to be raced that way.
Yes. And the courses in 8 are much more complex. And, like, they because they don't have to deal with physics, like real life physics, akin to real life physics. They do all these crazy things or have these crazy set pieces, and that's just the course, right?
Yeah.
And I think that in Mario Kart World they couldn't do that because of the reality-based physics.
They never had to connect to each other.
Yeah, and everything had... Well, I don't think the connectivity had to matter as much if they would have been willing to allow the terrain to actually be crazy. Because think about it. Think about if they actually allowed some of the parts of the map to actually be mountains.
Yeah.
And the whole course is like going up to the top of the mountain, right? I think what's interesting to me is that once I played Mario Kart 8, I realized how safe they were playing it with the courses in Mario Kart World.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I'll probably be playing World again because now you told me that there are some updates.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, these are little updates, but it seems like definitely they're looking at the feedback, or they're wanting to make sure that they have player retention. Because usually you don't see these updates so quickly from Nintendo.
Yeah.
So they must be really trying to make sure that this is their decade-long game.
Well, from my position, I'm still playing Mario Kart, and I have a lot of it, so I'm kind of in Mario Kart heaven. I have 8, I have World, I have 2 different play styles, 2 different varieties. And I think you mentioned this before when we were talking about it, how people like play Brawl or people play Melee. Yeah. It's kind of like that, like it's a completely different flavor.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, I want to play the flavor of Mario Kart that's 8. Or what people never say, but I actually do like this game, I want to play the flavor of Mario Kart that's Double Dash. Yeah. I don't know why people hate Double Dash. I'm like it. But, yeah. Well, exciting. Maybe we'll do a live play.
We should. And you can see the differences.
Yeah, see if I can actually win. But how has it been for you? Because you actually are really good at Worlds online. And you do win... knockouts and Grand Prix.
No, I agree with you. I think 8 has a lot stronger course design. Mario Kart World is a great free-roaming experience the world game. So it depends on what you're wanting from the game. And if you're wanting to really sink your teeth into some of a racing game, honestly, Mario Kart 8 probably gives you more bang for your buck. But also you're saying Nintendo's just like, well, I got your money either way. So it's...
Right.
They're like probably just like, well, whatever. As long as they stay in the ecosystem, we're fine with whichever game they play.
Well, that's how it's going to have to be. Because I'm playing Mario Kart 8 now.
Banana.
Donkey Kong.
So we've been both playing one particular game that's been sucking up a lot of our time positively.
Yep.
This Donkey Kong Bonanza. Honestly, it feels like there's been such a big build up to this game, and now that we're both playing it, it feels like it's been such a mellow yet captivating experience.
Yep.
Like it hasn't been like a Big Bang type of experience. It's been like a sit and enjoy experience, play it, like filled with wonder type of gameplay so far for me.
Yeah. It's a very much an experience where like you can turn it on, start playing, and because the mechanics are very simple, you can kind of relax your brain for most of the part.
So like we've been playing now for about hours and hours each, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to see? You have where are you at in the game?
Well, I have.
Or tell me your initial impressions for so far, or your initial impressions of the game.
I think that from what I thought the game was going to be, the last Donkey Kong game that I played was Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
I had some preconceived notions of what Donkey Kong could be.
Which were what?
Mind. Well, I thought that I thought it would work how Donkey Kong 64 worked, which is more akin to how, let's say, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands works. Where it's like, you have an overworld, there are stages that you enter, there's little objectives that you do. Although Donkey Kong 64 was a huge game, and it was almost impossible to collect everything, all the crystals. But I thought it would be more like that. And so when I went into the game and I booted up for the first time, the gameplay captivated me, and I, started destroying everything. So I spent like an hour in the first room.
Yeah. Before we even get to...
Before I even left the room.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, what's in here?
Which, kudos to Nintendo for making the game so...
addictive.
Explorable that way. Like, they knew that people would want to explore like that, and then they made it
they said
satisfying and able to be able to do so, right?
Yep. And I think also, because they did that, I was skeptical and maybe scared about how large the game would be, how expansive the areas would be.
Right.
Because, mind you, we're coming from Switch 1 mindset. So I'm like, well, with this type of gameplay and these type of physics...
What is actually...
How big could this be? How expansive could this be? And so I think that very quickly after that, progressing through the first couple of stages, I had like a wow moment.
Yeah.
Where I was on one part of the stage. Basically, most of the people who are listening and you know that the worlds or the layers are split up into different levels, sub-levels. And so at first you don't know that. And I went to a stage, and then I accidentally, without following the story because I was just doing my own thing, went down to a sub-level. And that blew my mind.
That was what was also surprising to me, is that there is a story for you to follow, but you don't necessarily are not forced to follow it strictly.
Yeah, to a T. You can explore.
It is open world, you can explore. But you're also getting to the vastness of the game, right? Which I think I agree. It was one of my first immediate observations was this game is huge.
Yes.
Right? Which you mentioned from Donkey Kong 64, maybe that was also large, right? But when I think of Donkey Kong, I'm thinking more of like the 2D platformers, maybe the smaller in scope, maybe more dense. So this was completely opposite of my expectations, the vastness of this game.
And so you're pleasantly surprised with
Pleasantly surprised, right? Okay. Very surprised. It definitely felt like a Mario Odyssey game, like exploration, or these 3D games, which I never actually played Donkey Kong 64, right? So that was 3D, right? I could totally see it giving that type of vibe, just based on your description of it.
So what has been your favorite part so far?
Honestly, the platforming. So you know how in all of these layers in the worlds, there's these little secret triangle sections where they're either hidden or they're covered in blocks. You smash through them and you get into the world, the subsection. I find those very fun, like fun little challenges throughout the world, both to find them and then to actually do them. Which also was something that was in Odyssey, right? So I think that's the part that really tickles my brain. The second part would definitely be all the collectibles. I think they definitely were very, very, very strong with finding things to make it satisfying to go through the world, right? So as you stumble upon, you're just like digging through the world, not really with any purpose, and then you stumble upon something. That's pretty. That's a good game design, I would say. Or it makes it satisfying for me to play. So I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from me is that clearly the game has been made in a way that it is satisfying just to be present in the game and to explore, right? You don't necessarily have to like think about, well, how do the game developers want me to play this in order for me to get the full experience? You can just go through the world, and through going through the world, Nintendo has made it so that you can get a unique experience.
Yeah.
Which, as I'm describing it, another game that was done that way was Tears of the Kingdom. So I think that's also giving a very similar vibe of like they've created this world that you are going through, rather than you are going down this A to B to C linear path.
Yeah. I think that I definitely like how much content is packed in, and like you said, that you have a lot of autonomy to try to figure out things on your own that are not part of the main story. I think the thing that is kind of like surprised me the most, though, is like how some of the different elements interact with each other.
Yeah.
So because there are different materials in the environments, and each stage has sometimes it'll be like certain properties of the materials, right? And this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I was having trouble with a stage, and I don't think you've gotten there yet, and you heard me and you're like, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I was like kind of getting frustrated but I was also like excited and kind of in awe, because one of the materials in the world had a property that interacted with weather.
Oh.
In the stage. And I really didn't expect that to be part of how
That's really
it worked.
Interesting. Yeah.
And it was to my detriment. So I was kind of frustrated.
But even that's still so surprising. It was unexpected to you.
Yeah. Because I couldn't figure out what was happening. I was like, oh, this is not working, or I'm losing health. And I was like trying to figure out like, well, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then I realized like, oh wow, it's even down to this level that the materials are interacting. And so I think that you bring up Tears of the Kingdom, very much like Tears of the Kingdom, in that way. So that's been super exciting for me. I think another thing that probably has a lot of people excited, including both of us, I think it really drew you into the game, is that the game actually seems to have a narrative and true characterization. So how do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm still kind of at the beginning of the narrative a little bit. Okay. I love that there's thematically it's got this around music, right? I love that Pauline is a part of the journey, right? It's definitely giving me in a good way, right? Classic Mario story, like Nintendo story. You actually, I mean, so you've experienced the full story, yeah?
Yes. I completed the game, yep.
Which is exciting, right?
Yep.
You feel like the story has paid off for you?
I think that so I guess first we have to start with, I had tried to keep as much information, spoilers about the game, because I hate spoilers.
Yeah.
So I tried to keep as much information away about the game, because I knew I was going to play through. And basically, it turns out that where I thought the end of the game was nowhere near to where the end of the game was.
Yeah.
So, and I actually got spoiled, and I was like, well, I think this is the end, and that was not the end. So, I think that, Nintendo knew that once they revealed Pauline, because remember we talked about it before, and I was like, Nintendo's hiding something.
Yeah.
And you were like, I think so. And then it turns out it was Pauline, right? And they knew that once they revealed Pauline, that would really change how consumers would receive anything that was going to happen. And so I think that they really understood players' expectations of Pauline, of Donkey Kong, two characters with a lot of history at this point and a lot of love towards them at this point. And I think that they were very effective at delivering for players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about for crafting their image moving forward? DK and
Well,
Pauline's.
I think, honestly, for crafting their image moving forward, we know that there's a Donkey Kong movie announced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is kind of like what they do for Zelda, where Zelda now has 3 timelines, and they kind of touch each other, and they kind of don't touch each other, and intertwine with each other, and then break away.
So this is the sassy Donkey Kong universe.
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what this Donkey Kong is, although my Donkey Kong was pink with a neon glowing bow tie. But yes, I think that this game actually does seem to want to be like a prequel to a movie. Yeah. It really wants to recharacterize both of these characters while also giving like a very palatable, very like complete feeling component to players who know their existing history. So it's like you get to have your cake and eat it too. They give you something and it makes sense and you're like, oh, wow, this is great. But then it also leaves room to be like, well, where do we go from here?
Yeah, and that's why for all this other stuff Nintendo does, we stay in the system because they can do game design correct. We put up with all the bad because of the good.
Well, I think that is very interesting to see how this does tie into any further games or DLC or movies. And also, I think we maybe talked about this before. Traditionally, Nintendo has been very story adverse. So this has been an opportunity to have story and to see how players resonate with it. And I think that if you look at the discourse online and even, out in just the universe, it seems that people appreciate the story. We both recently took a vacation. Mm-hmm. And when I was on my way home, there was a little girl sitting behind me.
Yeah.
On the flight, and she saw one of the cutscenes with Donkey Kong and Pauline, and she was in it. It really resonated with her. She literally was Pauline's age, and so maybe she was like, "That's me." But I think that the narrative components are helping to maybe reach new audiences, or to bring audiences that have stepped away or didn't really think the characters were important enough to have their own thing.
And I think what you just I don't think should be stated how unique that is. Oftentimes you'll have a story that either so heavily caters to a new audience or so heavily caters to an old audience that then it
one has to
isolates
lose
the other half. So for you to say they've created a story here that caters to both in a way that they feel satisfied, shows that Nintendo knows who their audience is and who they're trying to attract to the game.
Yep. I really, though, will say that having completed the game, and you know how long it took me. Yeah. It took me about 24 hours.
Yeah, and this was completing the story.
Right. Because after the point where I thought it was going to end and it didn't, I ignored all side quests and I just powered through. And it still took me the 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I think there's so much content there. But also, I have a little feeling, and this isn't a spoiler because I know you haven't made it to the end, but I have a feeling that this game will maybe get modest DLC. And I just have a feeling. Something about this game to me says
they need $19.99 more from you.
No, that's what the finance department at Nintendo is thinking. They're like, okay, we can get $20 more. No, I think that the way that they have the world just is very conducive to extra content.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I look forward to whatever comes next. I really enjoyed the game. It being a price increase game at $70, right?
Yeah. But not
it was worth it.
Yeah. But still cheaper than Mario Kart World.
But still cheaper than Mario Kart World, which I don't know if that was worth it.
Well, it took you buying Mario Kart World to play Mario Kart 8.
That is true.
So
call me out.
But you think maybe not right now, but in the future you'll ever go back to Donkey Kong to 100% it?
I think that so when the credits rolled, I was thinking and
when the credits rolled, you were pulling out your PlayStation 5. That's tea.
Okay, explain explain that.
I think literally right as the credits were rolling, I think you were in you got it complete, and now you're ready to move on to the next game, which maybe is PlayStation 5. Well,
there is a reason, because we've been talking about. So my PlayStation 5 was packed up, and Sean's PlayStation is out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to play my PlayStation 5 more, and maybe Sean will want to play, in the other setup that we have. And so I finished the game, and then, yes, I did immediately get my PlayStation 5 and start to set it up. But the only reason is because we talked about playing Sea of Stars DLC.
Yeah.
And so I forgot where we played it, if we played it on Game Pass, which we can...
One day we will figure out where we played it.
Well, I think we figured out now that we did play it on Game Pass, so...
But I was... So, like, for example, Odyssey, I 100%ed.
I remember.
These types of games I love to 100%, so I definitely will with 100% DK. You are...
I'm not 100% unless the story really grabs me. So I can name probably on my fingers, I can count on my fingers the games.
Yeah.
I can name them. I have platinumed Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 13-2.
Okay.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West. And I'm trying to think.
Odyssey.
We just looked at
Did you end up...
I did not 100% Odyssey. No. We just looked through my trophy list. I know I have 100%. I think Tales of Arise. I have 100%, I think. So, I mean, it really takes a lot for me to be like, Final Fantasy 16, I got the Platinum Trophy. So, it really takes the story getting me to be like, I'm going to put 30 more hours into this.
Even if you don't 100%, do you think you'll go back to DK at some point?
Oh, for sure.
To play some of the content?
For sure, because there's some stuff that I saw that I had to will myself to just run past so that I could get to the end. And I definitely want to go back and explore more of that. Those levels that I didn't really explore.
And here's another interest you, because you bought the game digital.
Yes, you bought it physical.
I bought it physical.
I have a digital copy.
Oh, so you're good to go. There's no decision for you to make. It's yours for life.
It's mine for life. Yep.
Well, then you get to play forever.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about Nintendo increasing the prices.
And then since you'll get your 100%, you can just sell it and move on.
Yeah. I would tell it to you, but you already have.
But speaking of selling, I guess the game that I'm actually struggling to finish and really wanting to finish so I can hurry up and sell it is actually Bravely Default. I think I told you that before. I'm more than 10 hours into the game, and it's dragging.
Yeah.
And it's also a game key card, so I'm like,
you want to sell it before
it depreciates even
the whole system.
But yeah,
I'm excited to finish DK. I think I probably have as far as you are, or I'm halfway to completion, maybe.
What level are you on?
I'm level like 700, 800.
700. Okay,
so I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
And we'll see.
I'm
going for the 100% for sure, though.
I'm sure you're gonna do it. I remember when you did Odyssey, and I was like, "Wow, that's dedication." So what is the thing in gaming that you're looking forward to?
The thing I'm most looking forward to is paying more for the same level of quality of goods and services. How about for you?
Well, I'm definitely not looking forward to that. I think that what I'm looking forward to is, honestly, I'm looking forward to completing more games. I'm really looking forward to Age of Imprisonment. You know, I love Age of Calamity. I told you, it's my deep, dark secret that I have been holding on to.
Oh, yeah, you gotta share it back with me. It's like you're playing Age of Calamity.
Oh, yeah, because you didn't finish it yet.
I didn't finish it.
Okay, I'll share it back to you. But my deep, dark secret is that Age of Calamity is actually my favorite game from the recent trilogy. Out of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Age of Calamity. Age of Calamity is my favorite. So I'm really looking forward to Age of Imprisonment. We just got a new trailer for it where they confirmed some big thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you because you haven't finished Age of Calamity. But it's what they said in this reveal trailer is a huge deal. And so many people were like, wow.
They're twins, right?
If only. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking for. Age of Imprisonment. And honestly, I'm looking forward to more announcements. You know, Final Fantasy 16 is now more than 2 years old.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be another Final Fantasy game?
There definitely will be another one.
It's not a remake or a remaster? Or...
Now, that's the question. I do know that the very next one will be... I forget, it's the third, what it's called, but it's the final game of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, which I did beat Remake. I started Rebirth, but I haven't played through it, so probably need to do that.
What about Recut? Or Redazzled? Or...
Girl, it's not called that. I forget what it's called, but Recut, Redazzled. You should write in to Square Enix and give them... I mean, their titles sound like that anyway. I guess the other thing I'll say is that... there's a couple of games on my radar, like the Souls Frame beta that I'm in right now, the open beta. Game seems so fun. Yeah. So I look forward to playing more of that. And also...
You look forward to playing Rocket League.
No, stop trying to throw me off. No, I look forward to playing more of the Nintendo playtest because I did make it into the playtest this time. And the game is so fun. Mm-hmm. And so I look forward to the little rest of the time that we have left with the game and then seeing what it actually becomes in real life.
Rocket League.
Stop. All right, well, this is Dee.
And Sean.
Stay sassy.